is Ken Volkmer. I'm the Pinal County Attorney. We're here in my office in Florence, Arizona, and I am meeting in Maricopa, just sort of discussing what it's like to be the Pinal County Attorney and some of the jobs and duties that this office takes care of. Sometimes I'm in Phoenix with various meetings. I'm actually our county representative for ACO, which is the Arizona Association of County Officials. I'm a member of APAC, so we kind of go all over. There's various trainings, but meetings is primarily what I do. We're working with various hospitals to make sure the services are appropriate. We're reviewing contracts. We're dealing with people that are frustrated. I'm dealing with the public. I view part of my responsibility as the Pinal County Attorney is to really be an educator. I'm not in the courtroom. We're just, at this point, it's too big. I have other attorneys that are the ones in there, but we're reviewing cases, we're reviewing decisions, we're reviewing pleas, we're reviewing things to make sure that things are going appropriate, but also I'm out with the public, making sure that they understand the system. I truly believe that the more people know about our system, the more transparent, the more open we are, the more confidence people have that we're really getting it right in the end. There are a number of federal grants. A lot of times when you do kind of pilot programs or you do programs that other people aren't doing, the government's willing to give you those resources to kind of get kick-started. That's actually how we kick-started our diversion program, is the state gave us about $400,000 to really offset the cost to the taxpayer and then to try and make the program sustainable. At the felony level, it would not have nearly the same impact. I've not had the full opportunity to review all of the proposal, but I do know that they limited the amount of personal possession to 1 ounce, which I do like. Like 2.5 ounces is about 100 joints. To say that's personal possession has always kind of struck me as a little bit odd, so they've reduced that number. There's still going to be a gap between 18 and 21, and I'm not sure how they want to treat that. And then there's also still going to be above that threshold how they're going to handle it. So most of the time when we're prosecuting at the felony level, it's going to be the sale amounts. It's going to be the huge amounts. So pleas are a necessary evil. About 98% of our cases resolve via plea, and that's for a number of reasons. One of which is frankly the financial aspect of it. You mentioned most of our county budget goes to law enforcement. We do have to use those pleas. I'm much more comfortable using them sort of in the non-violent cases. It's the violent ones that are much more difficult, because part of my obligation is to make sure that I keep this community safe. And if you are somebody that's committed a violent offense, that you have a propensity to commit violence, I'm much more concerned about you. I'm much more worried about making sure that you're put away to not only so there's punishment, but also to make sure that you can't harm anybody else. So I'm not going to say that we don't offer pleas, but typically on those murder cases and those real high-end cases, all of those pleas are normally staffed. So that means the attorney assigned has reviewed it along with their supervisor, and then usually my chief deputy, myself, and a team, and we kind of look at those to figure out what an appropriate resolution is. It's not a vulnerability in the case, it's typically a vulnerability to the community, because the law gives us the ability to put people away for a really long time. The issue is if somebody has a violent propensity and they commit this offense, and the law says, well, the presumptive sentence, for example, is 10.5 years. And we say, well, we want to save money, so we're only going to give you 3.5 years. My concern is if that person gets out in 3.5 years and then commits another violent offense, how do I look that victim in the face and say, yeah, I know the law told me this is what I was supposed to do, but it was really expensive, so I put your safety, I put finances above your safety. So it's really, sometimes it does have to do with vulnerability of cases, but typically it's what do we really need to do to make sure our community's safe, and what does this person really need? Is this somebody who, again, maybe has a drug addiction, maybe has some violent tendencies? Is this somebody that we can put in prison and come out with a probation tail to give them what they need to return to our community? Or is this somebody that we have to put away because we can't trust them to follow our societal laws and to keep us safe? Seems like I should know the answer to that question. I think most of the things that we've done have really been incremental. I don't know that there's been a whole lot of wide sweeping giant modifications, but what we've done is we've tried to streamline the process. There was an interesting quote at this training we mentioned earlier where they talked about that the strictest justice is oftentimes the greatest injustice. And that's, I'm sure I didn't quote it exactly, But I believe my, I guess, greatest accomplishment is I believe that my office is looking at each case as an individual case. We're not looking at it as numbers, but these are humans that we're trying to make an individualized decision on to do what's best, not only for that person, but for our community as a whole. That's a mindset. It really is, because it's easy to say, nope, nope, this is what we're going to do, and we can just run through these cases very quickly. It takes more time, it takes more willpower, it takes more emotional investment to look at an individual case and say, yeah, I know that these are both burglaries, but we need to treat these different because of the impact on the community, because of the impact on the victim, because the actual sort of criminal mindset that's involved. And I believe my office is doing an exceptional job of really kind of carrying out that mission.